Welcome to Hey Soul Sista, the podcast for women ready to embrace greater joy, freedom, and a soulful life. This is your space for deep conversations, meaningful stories, and inspiring guidance to nourish your body, mind, and spirit. My guest today is the radiant and wise Danielle Colley, who is an amazing somatic life coach, successful writer, and author of the beautiful book, The Chocolate Bar Life, Creating a Delicious Balance of Work, Rest, and Play, in which Dan shares how she went from hitting rock bottom to creating a life that feels good from the inside out. Hey, Dan.
Hello, how are you?
Yeah, good. How are you? I'm so excited to have you on here today.
Me too. I'm excited to be beaming into the Soul Sista studio over there.
Absolutely. Now, we first met in the desert.
We did.
Getting very soulful and spiritual.
Yeah.
In the Entry Desert last year.
Yeah, it was amazing, wasn't it? Out in the McDonald Ranges.
Yes.
And I will never forget that first sort of outing where we went into the gorge and we all sat in a circle and we talked about where we were at and what was going on for us at that time. And I think pretty much from then on, we all just dropped right into that beautiful energy of the country, of us, of the group, and what we were there for, what we were there to get, you know?
Yeah. That's what I love about retreats. I kind of seek out retreats, every year, every 2 years, because you just never know what you're going to learn about yourself, learn about your soul, the world. And you really do come out both transformed, but also meeting amazing people.
Yeah, it's true. I think it's something about, firstly, often when we go away, it's like on a holiday. So we have the intention of, I don't know, either sightseeing or relaxing or hanging with our family, or like there's always so much like expectation around a holiday. But I think with a retreat, you really kind of go and you put yourself in somebody else's hands and say, I'm willing, right? I surrender. And I think there are very few opportunities in our day-to-day life where we firstly give ourselves really quality time to self-reflect, but also just to surrender to what happens, what comes, and allow like that really big, deep spiritual thinking.
Absolutely. And so when you came back from the desert, it was probably not long after that you launched this book.
Yes.
At a fabulous launch event, many launch events around Australia. I went to the Sydney one, which was really wonderful, and hearing you read that and learning more about your journey. Tell us a little bit about what led you to write the book.
So there's kind of two stories. The sort of official one is more like I had been burnt out so many times and I had reached a burnout point again in my business. I was perimenopausal. I was going through a renovation. I was recently been diagnosed with ADHD and I was unmedicated. And perimenopause plus ADHD can create a spicy combo, which is why often a lot of very spicy. A lot of women who have masked or been able to cope quite well throughout their life and not realize they had ADHD, all of the wheels can fall off when the hormone shift changes the balance of whatever you have precariously juggled throughout your life. And all of those things sort of created a perfect storm, if you will. And I also have early teen children. At that stage, I have a mum who is unwell, and I felt like the only thing that I could quit was my business. So emotionally, kind of that's where I was at, and that's kind of where the book starts, I suppose. What also happened in that time kind of behind the scenes is like, I feel like I need to quit my business, and that was the only thing that I could get rid of out of the scenarios.
Yeah.
It felt like, that's what it felt like. I needed to ditch that thing because I was just stretched too thin. And the things that I had been doing with my business weren't working for me the way that they had been. I wasn't feeling as much soul satisfaction. I wasn't feeling as much pleasure and joy and fulfillment as I had been. And it was just, everything was hard.
Yeah.
So I thought to myself that I might just quit. And I had spoken to a coach about it. And she actually said, that would be okay, if you did just let it go for a while. And that really had the opposite effect. She swears that it wasn't reverse psychology, but just somebody giving me permission to say, it's all right that it's hard and if you don't want to do this. So what I thought instead was what would happen if I went all in. And going all in kind of meant for me investing money, investing time, changing how I was doing it, getting a strategy, getting support. Because, the old solopreneur, which is not a word that I love, but I had worked on my own for a really long time and tried to do all the things in a business. I'm a great coach, but I'm crappy at business. Like, I'm not great at all the different elements. Very much a creative. So when it comes time to doing all of the business part of business, that's where my energy really starts to leak. So getting support has been huge, changing how I do my business. And the book changed everything, Not only was it an opportunity to share this really important message, share so many of my stories, but I was able to change how I did business by then taking the show on the road and becoming more of a speaker and a workshop facilitator, moving from that real one-on-one space to going into groups, leadership and team development stuff, keynotes. So it's been a huge, huge year since the book came out. And it is literally, we must have been in the desert about now-ish.
Yeah, so we were there in May, so just over a year ago, yeah.
Wow.
And it's funny that you say that, that's been a big year, because me watching you, it seems like you've been doing this for years.
Well, I have versions of this, I've done versions of this for years. I think what's happened is it's almost like it's taken some steroids and it's really started to speed up. I think more than ever, Mel, I need to eat my own cooking. It's like I need to go back and read the book.
Yeah.
I need to really remember the philosophies, because it's like they say, a massage therapist has always got the worst back, or the hairdresser's got the worst hair, or the doctor doesn't go and see the doctor. It's really easy to stand in front of a group of hundreds of people and talk about the philosophies, but then to actually live them and do them and be like authentic.
Yeah.
But also, they're practical for the sake of pragmatism, don't fry in the name of success. Don't burn your nervous system to a little shriveled,
Yeah, I know exactly what you mean, because that's where I was when I was in the desert at that retreat. Yeah.
And how do you feel? Because it has been a process really for you to step away from Got Your Back Sister and hand that over, and still consulting, I believe, somewhat. How has that been for you to notice the change in your nervous system from where you were to where you are now?
Do you know what? It's really interesting. So for me, it's been about 12 months. When we were in the desert and I was, sitting in that dry riverbed in the McDonald Ranges, and we'd gone through a process and I was journaling, and then Nicola came over, who was a wonderful workshop facilitator, and we sat and really talked about, all of that. I was so burnt out with Got Your Back Sister. I love it and I love what we do. Absolutely love it. But similar thing, it's like, when I started Got Your Back Sister 9.5 years ago, I was, doing absolutely everything, as you do. I was a charity, but I was like a solopreneur in a charity, doing absolutely everything. And then over that time, the team has grown, which is so wonderful. But with a growing team means more income and more funds, right? And so I really ended up being so focused on fundraising, because we're not government funded. We're a self-funded domestic violence charity helping women. So as you have a growing team, you also have growing expenses, which means that my focus was really around partnerships, relationships, fundraising, and the hustle. And I had just reached that point of being exhausted and thinking, I feel as though we need somebody fresh in that role. And so, but I had been thinking about that 18 months before I did it. So part of the going to the desert thing for me was deliberate, because I was like, I know that I have to let go of all my egoic attachments to that charity. And that has been a process. It doesn't just happen straight away. I've done a lot of untangling of that egoic attachment, because over 9.5 years, I became, Mel Histon, founder of Got Your Back System, in the media, talking, and you do get quite attached to that.
Yeah, it's so easy for our identity to get caught up in the thing that we do.
Yeah.
Therefore, if I'm not doing that anymore, who am I? Who am I without that?
Absolutely.
And I think that's part of the reason why it's so seductive to get onto the hamster wheel and stay there. You know, once you get a taste of that hustle, firstly, you know, all the adrenaline and all the cortisol and stuff, it's quite exciting.
Yep.
And even though we can feel our stress levels rising, we can feel that, you know, that the signs and symptoms of anxiety, whether that is, you know, the pounding heart or the overthinking, the racing thoughts, maybe, you know, struggling to wind down, drinking a little bit too much to take the edges off, inability to sleep, all of that sort of stuff. You know, we see it all coming up, but it is actually still quite addictive.
Absolutely. And you don't realize it, right? You don't realize it until you're like so deep in it.
Yeah. I also think that, you know, real sense of needing to prove ourselves through what we do is something that I see a lot with the clients that I work with, feeling like they constantly need to be doing more, need to work harder than everybody else, need to push themselves, need to prove all of that stuff. It's like this never-ending cycle.
Yeah.
You know, when is enough enough? And
Yeah.
I think that, you know, for you to be able to recognize, even if it was 18 months prior that the whispers first started, for you to recognize it was time for you physically, emotionally, mentally to step away is a huge thing and a really beautiful part of self-awareness, because so many people would not or cannot because of that sense of identity being so deeply wrapped up.
Absolutely. And I guess because I have recognized that in myself, that I had experienced that, I actually also do recognize it in some other people, that, you know, the tight attachment to that identity of a business or a charity or whatever it is that you've created. And it's interesting because my wise mindfulness guru Charlotta says all the time, attachment is the cause of suffering. Mm-hmm. That's a kind of a Buddhist wisdom. Attachment is the cause of suffering. And you go, it's so true. Being so tightly attached to Got Your Back Sister also caused suffering. Like in 9.5 years, I slept terribly. I worried constantly. I felt the burden of not letting anyone down, not letting our clients down, like the women that we help, our employees, our donors, our supporters. I constantly felt the weight of not letting people down. And that's really tough.
So how are you now? So 12 months later? Are you sleeping better? Is your nervous system, have you done the work to sort of recalibrate and reset and come back to a really healthy space of...
Absolutely. And you know, part of that has been, you know, being introduced to the breathwork and the work I've been doing with Nicola Unite, the inner work. Yeah. She's an amazing conscious collective breathwork facilitator, which Dan, we've done her group.
We have.
Breathwork.
I loved it so much. I just went and got certified myself. I've just done the conscious connective breathwork course, so that I can bring that into my work as well. It's phenomenal, for releasing the stuck stress and traumas in the nervous system. That's for sure.
Yeah, and you know what I think? So for me, I had to do the inner work. I recognized I had to go deep and do the inner work. I recognized that I had such strong attachments there that were causing suffering, right? They cause stress and, you know, just constantly hustling and buzzing. And that's not a joyful, peaceful way to live. And so I had to do the inner work. And I would say now, just over 12 months since I'm still on the board of Got Your Back Sister, and I'm actually the chairperson of the board, but I'm not doing the day-to-day operational stuff anymore. And I have never felt better. I've never slept better. I still love the charity. I'm still love the team and involved in a much more hands-off way in that not going and doing the doing. But I would say one of the biggest things I've learned is the importance of doing that inner work, the self-awareness, you know, being able to go, I know that I want to get to peaceful, calm, joyful life. I have to actually do a lot of healing, a lot of inner work here.
Yeah.
It's a lot of facing a lot of I'm going to say a lot of shadow shit going on in here.
Yeah, right. You got to shine a torch under the bed. See all the
Shining a
crap you've been shoving under there.
All the stuff you don't want to see.
Yeah, totally. And it's super uncomfortable going and doing that stuff, but it is deeply, deeply rewarding. I think something you said a moment ago, which was about, making life actually feel good to live. And that is sort of one of the, I guess, the mottos or the catch cries of the work that I do is life actually should feel good to live. We're not just here to be on the treadmill or on the hamster wheel or, we're not just here to work hard, then come home and work more around the house and be in this grind, go to sleep, get up and do it again. Life is actually this really awesome, fun, soul-led, satisfying, joyous thing.
Yeah.
If we make it so. It's so easy to forget, and you just get into this routine, and where it's I want to say life by default rather than life by design. And it often really does just take a little bit of, I think, reflection onto what it is that you actually enjoy, what it is that you actually want in your life. What do you want more of? I mean, we all need there's stuff that we need to do. We all have responsibilities, and sometimes cleaning the toilet just isn't fun. That's just life, right? Or whatever it is, you might not love your job. That's okay. It's what else do you fill your life with so that on balance it feels good.
Yeah. Because that's what we want, right? We want to live a good, happy, joyful life. Yeah. And so I guess for many a woman who is listening to this, and there are many who, I mean, we're probably talking about, solopreneur, entrepreneurial women, founders at the moment, talking about that. But any of what we're talking about is relevant
Absolutely
to any woman, the stay-at-home mum, the working mum. I'm labeling. I don't mean to label, but you know what I mean. It's like, okay, we're not just talking about business here.
No, everyone gets stuck in the grind.
Yeah.
I think, for me, so many of my new directions and careers were born out of being a stay-at-home mum because I found that so difficult. I think that, no matter who you are, there are responsibilities. And for me, responsibility is work.
Yeah.
So it doesn't matter whether it's, paid work, whether it's, juggling your kids and your aging parents, because that's the age that we're in, right? This midlife sausage mincer, I'm calling it. Whatever there is that is about the things that we must do every day in order to survive and, stay as a functioning part of whatever this society is asking from us, which is, having money and doing the things and being, clean clothes and warm and all of that stuff. That requires the effort, and efforting in that way is often a grind.
Yeah.
Did that make sense? Was that even a whole sentence?
That did totally make sense. And I think that so many women will connect with that and will relate to that. Absolutely. So Dan, talk to us about your somatic work. Now, I'm going to be honest, I don't even fully know what that is. I've seen a lot just recently. Maybe it's because it's on my radar. Talk to us about that and about how it works, how it can be of benefit to women.
Sure. So I call myself an integrative life coach, right? Because I'm integrating lots of different modalities, some of the traditional kind of coaching and therapeutic modalities, plus some of the ones that are considered maybe to be a little bit more woo-woo, but I just kind of like to think of it as some of them are more neuroscience and neurology based.
Yeah.
Thinking, brains, neuroplasticity, right? And some of them are more feelings based, okay? So somatic just basically means like feeling, to feel. So breath work is one of the somatic therapies, which is essentially, instead of going deeply into the story, what happened, all of the things, all of the thoughts and feelings, and then you might, in traditional therapy, you might rehash over that like for years even until you finish talking about it, until the charge is gone. There is a great place for that in the world, traditional therapy, but what I do with my combination of modalities is change the way that your brain perceives stuff, or helps to upgrade the way your brain is perceiving certain things about your history or your belief patterns. And then also allowing the emotions to be processed through your body rather than processing. Because like if you think about a specific incident from your childhood, right, where there's a lot of pain and hurt and confusion, okay, you go into the story and that brings up all of the pain and the hurt and the confusion, and the pain and the hurt and confusion stays there while you keep talking about it, okay? So if we don't go into the story, but we go into where is the feeling in your body, right? Where are you experiencing this pain, or where is the sensation of confusion in your body? And then by allowing yourself to really sort of embody and inhabit the sensation of a feeling, it can process out in a very different way to when you're just talking about it.
Yeah.
Because you're feeling your way through it. You're feeling your way through the feelings rather than talking about your feelings, which makes perfect sense. So how I do it is it really depends on a case by case, on a day by day scenario. Where do I think somebody's at? What do I think that they're ready for? How do I think that they're getting stuck in their own story and we need to just get away from that, because we love our stories as humans, and sometimes we can trigger ourselves and go back into a drama loop, and it's so easy to do. You know, I had a fight with my husband, say, and then it was a week ago, and then we're okay now, but I might get on the phone with a friend and be like, oh my God, you never believe what he did last week. And they're like, tell me. And they're like, and then all of a sudden, all of those feelings come back up again, even though it was last week, right? I can talk about the shame I felt in high school over the bullying that I experienced. And even though it was 30 something years ago, I feel it still. So it's really easy for us to stay stuck in our story loops. So how do we allow those feelings to just be processed out and just go out on the wind like a cat fart on the wind, say, just be gone.
Yeah, that's really interesting. And look, I actually didn't realize that what I've been through a process with Nicola and also Charlotta, and actually I didn't realize it was somatic. I didn't know I had a name. There you go.
Ultimately, it's an umbrella term, I think, for when when you're just dealing with the feelings. And breathwork is very much in that vein. You lie down, you breathe, and whatever happens in your body is actually a little bit out of your control, and the stuck energy can just move through.
Yeah. Dan, from reading your book and again, probably getting to know you, it would seem as though you are on this awesome trajectory of life lessons and wisdoms that you're sharing the world, which is really amazing.
Oh, honestly, like the work that I do at the moment is giving me a great sense of satisfaction and fulfillment, because I feel like I'm really good at it. So working with my one-on-one clients, I'm seeing their big transformations, and that is giving me a zing, and it feels really satisfying for me. I feel very, very satisfied and fulfilled and successful in those moments. But let me tell you, I'm having my ass handed to me by parenting to teenagers, right? I'm having my ass handed to me.
Teenagers are tough.
But, oh my God.
So tough.
Right? But I'm also having my ass handed to me by, caring for, I say, even though I'm not doing the hard yards, but being mindful of my mum and her mortality because she has a degenerative disease which is marching on. And so I'm juggling all of this like really, really visceral stuff at the same time as helping people to have these transformational experiences. So I'm really pleased that I'm feeling like I'm doing well in my work right now, because there have been times I felt like I'm flying and doing great at parenting and my kids are going really well, but work has been really tough.
Yeah.
So
do we ever actually get it all? Do we actually all get it all at once?
I don't know. But if there is anybody listening who feels like they're in the sweet spot right now and they've got it all at once, do please get in touch with both of us so that we can high five and live a little vicariously through their joy.
Yeah. Do you know what? Every time I get to a point and I'm like, I think I've got it all together. I think I've got it covered. Feeling good, sleeping good, exercising, looking good, doing well at uni, Yep, this is going good. It got your back, sister. Hubby's good. Kid's good. Every time that I think, yeah, nailing this, I go, I feel like the universe, whoever, God, whatever it is, goes, hang on. Let's just get a bit of a reality check
I've
here.
got a curveball for you, lady.
You get a virtual kick up the ass going, nah, sister.
Yeah.
Nah, don't get too big for your boots there.
Look, I think it's really important for us to have the moments where we feel like we've got it together. So it's almost like a breather.
Yeah.
We can catch our breath. We can feel like everything is sort of under control. We're cruising for a minute and then the next thing comes. Because the fact of the matter is, and this is a huge biological flaw for humans, but the fact of the matter is that's when we grow.
Yeah.
Is through the adversity, through the tough stuff, when we really need to be resilient, when we really need to dig deep and do things that are a little bit harder than we imagined we could handle. That's when our capacity grows, our comfort zone grows, our knowledge and wisdom grows. And it sucks. I wish you could just go to bed one night and plug yourself into the wall and get the system upgrade. But it doesn't quite work like that. You've got to do the yards. So the yards is the stuff that really requires a lot from you. And sometimes life can be a bit of a relentless mistress.
You know, it's funny. I saw on a video this morning and it was a celebrity person. I think it might have been Ed Sheeran. I can't remember. Because I was like, oh, Ed Sheeran, that's a bit deep for you. Okay, yeah. And he actually, sorry, Ed Sheeran, you could be totally deep. I have no idea. But he was actually saying that you don't grow and become successful from just everything falling in your lap. So you actually need the failures and the struggles because that's how you learn. That's how you get better, is the failures and the struggles. So, and I was like, yeah. Insightful. Good job.
Yeah, it's true.
Yeah. Hey, Dan, so one of the things that has come on my whole life radar over the last 2 to 3 years is a real shift from living the life that the world expects from us, what the world expects us to be, what people expect us to be. And actually, I have really felt this calling. And it helped that I went to a retreat that Kathy Burke was running. That was like, I think I cried for like 2 days, and I'm not a crier, because it was like the virtual douche in the head of going, I have felt this calling, and for me, it's the soul calling. It's like I've been the good girl, I've been the achieve, go hard, keep everybody happy. The world's expecting this of me. My family's expecting this from me. I feel like everybody's expecting these things from me. And actually, what's my soul calling for me to do and for me to be? Because it's very different from what the world is calling me to be. And so it's been this wonderful shift over the last probably 2 years of that. And again, it's the learning, the growing and having going, actually, I want to live a happy, joyful life. I don't want to hustle anymore. I'm tired. It's being more connected to myself and to my soul and to the bigger universal energy, I guess. So, Dan, with the work that you're doing, and you're doing a lot of somatic and transformational work with women, are you seeing any of that, any of those shifts that women are starting to feel that soulful calling?
Definitely more questioning. Is this it? Is this what I'm here for? I know a lot of people feel trapped by golden handcuffs, is a term I use a lot. People who feel they can't make a different decision because they've got a mortgage to pay. They've got, these financial responsibilities, so they need to stay where the money is, and the money often requires a pound of flesh because they're getting the big bucks, so they need to be there. And, this isn't necessarily for people who are, feel like they're at that level. It's just often feeling like you can't make another decision or can't make a big move because you might rock the status quo, and even if you're not satisfied in one area of your life, the rest of it, like it's better the devil you know, right? It's better the devil you know. I am definitely seeing people question what they're doing and how they're doing it and how they feel about themselves when they're doing it. And rather than sort of telling them that they need to be following their soul purpose, it's really more I'm trying to encourage people to recognize that you actually always have choices, even if it feels like those choices are difficult, or the chain of events those choices may kick off might be scary, unknown, difficult to predict. But sometimes when we have these big shakeups, we end up somewhere that is so much better than we ever imagined, but we just can't imagine it right now because it's not on our radar. So I guess what I would say to anyone who is wondering if this is it, or hearing those whispers of wanting something different, something more, something less, something more aligned, then I would invite them to keep asking the big questions of themselves. I actually had a client this morning who said something which was so great. I wrote it down. Where is it? Oh, yeah. She said she came to me to find out what was next for her. She is a woman in her 60s. She's nowhere near wanting to retire. She's really satisfied with what she's doing, but she's wondering if there's something else that she should be doing with potentially this final chapter of her working life. And through the last few weeks of working together, rather than career coaching, I don't know if that's what she anticipated. I would have to imagine not after our first conversation, but she said she came looking for what is next, but she realized that to know what she wants, she needs to discover who she is. She needs to know herself. And I think that we get so caught up in the doing of life that sometimes we forget who we are.
Yeah.
And we forget to check back in with who we are. You know, I try to have regular check-ins with my husband where we're like, how are you going? What's going on for you? What are you feeling about that? How can I support you more? How are you feeling about this thing that we did or said, or that, you know, having those check-ins with our loved ones is so necessary. But when do we do that with ourselves?
Yeah.
Maybe if you go on retreat, maybe then you're asking the questions, or, you know, maybe now and again you might listen to a podcast or something, or read a book that might inspire you to reflect in a new way. But imagine if you had a weekly check-in with yourself, just to be like, how am I feeling about this status quo? Do I still want to live where I live? Do I still want to do what I do? Do I still want to eat how I eat? How am I feeling in my skin? How am I feeling within myself? Am I still in alignment with all of this? People often don't even know what their values are to know if they're in alignment. There is often this perception that, you know, you have to set your whole life on fire and leave everything behind and start fresh. It's none of that. Often it's really simple tweaks to bring life back into alignment, to make life feel good again. Often it's bringing in a little bit of this and pushing out a little bit of that, you know. But it just takes that reflection and mindfulness. You know, what is it that makes your life feel delicious? That's the essence of the Mars bar philosophy, you know, understanding the different parts required to make your life feel delicious, even though you have a lot of responsibilities which are fairly mundane or even unpleasant, you know. It's okay that not every single aspect of your life is fun and pleasurable and joyous, but as long as there is enough of the things that you personally love, enough of the things that fill your cup, fill your soul, then everything works out on balance.
Hey, Dan, you mentioned something before, which I kind of went, I want to come back to that. You talked about your daily practices. Daily practice is something that has taken me years to actually commit to and do, really. I talked about it for a long time, but I've actually never really committed to anything. What do you mind sharing? What's your daily practice? And is that something that you kind of encourage other women to do?
Definitely do encourage people to have a daily practice, whatever that means for them. So at the very bare minimum, what I encourage people to do is get a good night routine and good morning routine. And that is so that we can sort of set our circadian rhythms, set our clocks, our body clocks, set our spiritual clocks as well. But that's going to be a very different thing for everybody, what those things look like. For me personally, I, at this current moment in time, do not have a set daily practice that I'm doing every single day. What I do have is probably like a weekly practice
Yeah.
that is somewhat fluid because I am at the beck and call of everybody in my life, and I need to be more fluid,
Yeah.
right, at this particular moment. So for me, daily practice is I walk on the beach with my dog. That pretty much happens every day. During that walk, I endeavor to find a spot and do some breathing, a very specific type of breathing that we did with Nicola actually at the last thing, which was that lotus mudra, which is essentially sitting down cross-legged and imagining me drawing up the energy of Mother Nature, drawing up the energy of the earth in through my body and then up sort of into my head space, and then pouring any of the head trash that I have back into Mother Nature, back into the earth, so that she can carry that for me for the day and support me. So I try to do that. I'm really enjoying that as a practice. Exercise. So for me, physically working my body with weights or Pilates is part of my daily practice that keeps me really sane and really grounded and in my body. Having ADHD, it's very, very easy for me to get in my head, and it's a bit of a circus in there. So part of my daily practice is definitely physical movement. Today, I did some breathing there today. That was a bit more breathwork focused. So for me, it's about little things often. I will also, during the day, as I'm feeling my stress levels rise, shall we say, if I'm getting out of my window of tolerance, which is the nice happy medium where you float generally, if I find myself getting a little bit heightened, I am really mindful to just take a few moments, bring myself back, do something that I love, listen to some music that I enjoy. It pretty much always at the moment is involving some breath work or toning, humming, singing, making sound to activate my vagus nerve. So yeah, they're kind of they're the practices that I have regularly, and I endeavor to do them most days.
Oh, I love that. And I love that you have a variety, and some of it's simple. It's like going for a walk on the beach. Yeah.
Yeah. No phone.
No phone.
Have to leave the phone at home. It's really about having moments of mindfulness, moments of peace, moments of just being. I've had times when my daily practice is gratitudes and writing things that I was proud of the day before. And I think it's really about finding what it is that works for you, that feels like it's something that you can stick to or you want to keep doing. So yeah, finding the things that you enjoy doing and they're familiar to you so that they feel nourishing and nurturing, and not doing them, it feels like there's something missing.
Yeah. I recently was introduced to it was my Vedic astrologer. I got introduced to a Vedic astrologer, and I had a reading online, and he actually sent me some links to some of his practice, like to some of his videos. And there's one, it's a YouTube video, it goes through 25 minutes. It's a self-love practice. So it's about 15 minutes of some different Himalayan breathwork exercises, and then like a 10-minute meditation. I love it. When I do it, I'm like punching the sky. I'm like, yeah, I feel so good. I feel at peace, which I love. And I just go for the rest of the day. I'm like everything's easier to deal with. And he kind of said to me, so his name is Jeff Rubb, and he said to me, do it every day for 7 days. The first day I did it, I was like so clunky. I'm looking at the video going, okay, what do I do now? Because it's, like doing some different, hand things while you're doing the breath work. And I'm like, oh God. So I'm like, I feel really clunky doing this. But actually after the 7 days, I loved it so much. I felt so different. And because I did commit to doing that 7 days. Look, I try and do it most days. And I notice a difference when I do it. I don't have much variety. I do this YouTube video. I need a bit of Jeff on. Boom. Let's do that. I probably need a bit of variety.
Also then, but it's good because you know what to expect. Sometimes there is that familiarity piece, which is soothing.
Yeah.
You know what you're doing. You know how long it takes. You know how you feel afterwards. So, if it ain't broke, don't fix it.
Yeah.
You have to say, okay, I'm going to make 20 minutes or 10 minutes or 5 minutes, whatever it is for you and the thing that you want to do. But you have to choose to create that time and space, and then to be able to definitely see, feel, experience a change in that time just really lets you know that they're all onto something, aren't they? Those meditating, breathy type people, they're onto something.
Absolutely.
Right? Yeah. Everyone can commit to just sitting quietly and breathing for 2 minutes. And
Yep.
I think sometimes we get a little bit caught up in the idea of what meditation should look like. But if you just imagine not sitting and stressing for a minute, just focusing on your breath, 2 minutes, that's it. That's it. It's not too much to ask.
Yep. I love that. See, it doesn't need to be fancy.
No. And I actually say that, you know, in the book, part of the chocolate bar life philosophy is these pops of rest, pops of restorative activity. So I mentioned before the window of tolerance, which is the nice little sort of letterbox where your nervous system likes to exist most of the time. And sometimes we have little spikes, you know, we might be driving in traffic and someone cuts us off, but then we want to come back down into the window, you know, rather than go all the way off and go into road rage or whatever. And then sometimes we might have like little slumps, but then we want to just come back up. So recognizing we're in this window of tolerance. But throughout we live in a very, very fast-paced world, and there is a lot of pressure often. And it's recognizing those moments where we might sort of go up a little bit or down a little bit, and we just need to bring ourselves back. And those restorative moments, they can be 20 seconds, 30 seconds. They might be 5 minutes and a cup of tea, but a cup of tea is not like a laborious thing to do. You know, it's not like you have to go and stand on your head in the Himalayas for an hour, you know. So yeah, just having these little things that you pops of restorative activity that you pepper throughout your busy days, so that you keep coming back to this place of peace, as you mentioned before, coming back to a place of peace and calm over and over and over, and resetting rather than forcing, pushing, grinding all the way through all day, every day until your annual leave or until you retire. It's like, it's hectic, right?
Absolutely, my friend. Now, I'm just going to show this. Oh, look at the light.
Look at the light.
Look
It
at the
sounds
light.
very moody.
I know,
Beautiful.
it's
It's like rays of heaven is flashing down on the book.
On the book.
Yeah.
Danielle's book, Danielle Colley, The Chocolate Bar Life. Now, Dan, where can people get a copy of your book?
Yeah, they can jump onto daniellecolley.com.au. You can buy the book from me. If you buy it from me, it comes autographed with a handful of chocolates, usually. I'm still working my way through the 800 Mars bars that Mars sent me. Or you can jump onto Amazon. You can jump onto Booktopia. If you're listening in other countries, also Amazon, Barnes & Noble, like pretty much everywhere where you buy your books, you can find it online.
I'm so proud of you. I mean, sorry, that sounds so... No,
I love that.
No,
Thank you. I'll take it.
Yes, I am. I'm so proud of you. I remember when we came down for your book launch in Sydney, I was like, that is such an achievement to write a book.
Thank you.
To get it published. Yeah. You know, high five to you.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. And you know what? I'm proud of you too for getting back behind the microphone, because the world has missed your voice, and you've got so much great conversation and wisdom to share. So looking forward to this next season of Hey Soul Sista.
Oh, thank you so much. It actually feels really good to be recording again, because it's been a couple of years, of actually consistently recording. Now, Dan,
great.
If people want to find out more from you about you, or they want to connect with you for somatic coaching work or any of your workshops, get you to speak at a function, or go to one of your future retreats, how can people find you and connect with you?
Yes. So I'm over on Instagram at I am Danielle Colley. So I am Danielle Colley. You can also find my website, daniellecolley.com.au. I think I know there is a contact form there. Or you can find me over on LinkedIn. So come and find me and message me. Anywhere where you prefer to hang out, you can come and find me there.
Well, Dan, thanks so much for coming on Hey Soul Sista today, because I just love there's people like you in the world that are out there helping, being of service to other women, and You've done the inner work yourself, and you're so beautifully open and willing to share your own experiences, your own wisdoms and learnings, but then also to be supporting other women as well, so that they can live their best life. Yeah.
Thank you.
So thanks
so much, Mel. I really appreciate
The world needs
those
you and more
words.
Dans.
Thank you.
Thank you, Soul Sister.
Bye.